All right, so welcome to my first mobile forensics video. And pretty much what I'm trying to do is go over some of my the blogs that I've been working on mobile forensics. So recently, I came out with a short blog on Realm databases and specifically the Houseparty app for iOS. So what I'm trying to do is kind of go through the kind of the content of the blog, but in a practical fashion, kind of showing what those steps in the blog are, but kind of on the computer itself. So hopefully this might help some practitioners in visualizing what the steps are, how it looks, how to use the tools and the scripts that will help in the analysis, right? If this is the first time you hear about some of the work that I've done, I want to refer you to my blog, abrignoni.com. This is kind of small. Let's see if we can make it a little bit larger in size. Let's see here. What's the shortcut for this? For make it. Where do I put somebody's? There we go. There we go. So, abrignoni.com. That's my blog, and my Twitter is my name at Alexis Brignoni in Twitter, and this is Twitter. And then this is blog, and then I can be reached through any of those at any time. All right, so let's get started. Like I mentioned, the app that we're going to be working on is the Houseparty app. With this whole COVID thing, it's obvious that physical interaction is really limited. So these apps that deal with group interaction online at a distance have become pretty popular, Zoom and others. So for mobile, Houseparty one of those. And the first step is to kind of figure out what the app, like I mentioned, is about. So if you go here to the App Store, you can see pretty much what type of data we might be looking for, right? We're looking for possible usernames. We might be looking for chats, links of contacts, and the like for iOS. So what we're gonna use for our analysis, it's a excellent image that was provided by Josh Hickman. And let me take you to his blog here, the Binary Hick, and he has made available to the community iOS 13 images, and it's fantastic, right? So one of the apps that he decided to create some data for us is the Houseparty app. That being said, when you're faced with an analysis of an app that you don't really know much about, what I recommend you do is have some test phones that mirror the phone you're going to be working on, and create your own data sets, or use data sets like Josh is here. Like again, I want to give him all the credit. His work is becoming kind of standard because it's so good. It's really well documented, and that leads to the documentation part. Make sure you create your data and document your data. How is that going to look? When you do some data documentation, what I'd like to see and do is something like this. Let me show you. Let me go back here. Something similar to this. Let me scroll that to the screen. Right, so what Josh did was, he has the image or the description for the image, and let's go specifically to the Houseparty data. There we go. Here you will see, let me make this a bit larger. There we go. Here you will see the app, the version, when it was installed, the accounts, the test accounts that we will be using, and then what data was generated. And this is important because if there's an app that is not parsed by your commercial tools, like your big guns, your big tools, you want to create data that you'll be able to find, so you know what you're looking for if your tools are blind to it. And I make the point that just because your tools are blind to it doesn't mean they're bad, right? There's a lot of apps, they change constantly, and an app that might be relevant for you today, it might be supported in a month, 2 months, 3 months, as other practitioners also have that need, and the industry responds to that by supporting it. But we can't wait for that. We need to solve our cases or do our analysis. We need it now. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to create some test data. We're going to document what was done with the device, and then we're gonna find and locate that test data in our data sources, which will let us extrapolate how we should interpret our case data based on our work in our test data. All right. So let's get into it. So we have an image. We downloaded it from Josh's site. We know Houseparty is in it, and now we're gonna do some processing. Like I mentioned a second ago, what if your tool does not know anything about this app? Well, processing is still needed. And the reason for that is you want to locate the app wherever it might be. So what I'm going to show you here is I use my own tool to do a little bit of the processing. And let me bring that up. Let me just let me call it. So I'm doing this on my other screen so I can drag it over. So just give me a sec. All right. Alrighty. So I got an app called this is iLeap. Yeah, I haven't changed the name here, but it's fine. It's iLeap. I will discuss that in a second. I'm doing some code changes, so ignore the names for now. And we're gonna run the tool, right? So where did it go? Here it is. Let me drag it over. So this is our tool. So this is a tool that I wrote. You can find it in my GitHub, which I should have placed in the notes. Let me put it here so we have it. GitHub and .com. Well, GitHub. Everybody knows what GitHub is. And you know, Abrignoni. There we go. Easy peasy, right? And you can look for iLeap. And what you do is you select the type of extraction that you have and where it's located, and it will process artifacts out of it of interest. Take into account that this type of analysis in iOS devices requires full file system access, and that's out of scope for this presentation, for this video. That's something I might look into doing in the future. How do you get access to that data inside your iOS device, which is not provided easily by the manufacturer of the phone? How do we do that? We'll discuss that in a future one. So assume we did the right thing. We got the proper extraction with the tools that we needed. So in this case, we're gonna take it from a directory here. I'm gonna pull it from my extraction drive here. Let me go a level up. Extraction, select open. There it is. Oh, I selected file. Sorry. There we go. Directory. Like I said, we're gonna go open that. Where is it? Nope. Nope. I'm going to go up here. Where's my? Oh, here it is. Sorry about that. We go select folder. There we go. So we know our extraction is there. It's in a directory, and we're gonna process. In this particular installation that I have on my tool, I limit it to only one artifact because I wanted the process to go fairly quickly, or extremely quickly. So I'm just parsing one artifact, and it's the artifact that we're gonna use to target down where our data is located. Take into account that these tools, like any other forensic tool, will support multiple artifacts. In this case of iLeap, it supports around 50, and right now we're just looking for one. All right, let's wait a few minutes while that's running. Let me show you here. One thing you wanna be doing is downloading. No, sorry, not downloading. Going to this website, right? And let me write it here on the on our list. Well, the processing is done, but let me write this. I'm gonna put this as reference, and we'll go. The tool already finished. I can see it on my taskbar, but I want to write this for you. This is an useful site because you will be able to find out how the name of the app, how it's named internally on the phone, right? The name Houseparty, that's not how the app might be named within the phone. It might be a totally different name. I will give you some examples of that. Let's do that right now. Let's look, for example, for Houseparty. Houseparty, right? When you hit search, see Houseparty, the internal name or the bundle ID name is com.hersig.houseparty. And this is kind of makes sense, right? Houseparty, Houseparty. What about one like TikTok, for example? If you look at TikTok, the internal name is com.celioapp.musically. there's no TikTok there. So sometimes the bundle ID name might be totally different from the actual name or title that the app shows to the user. So that's why I like this page a lot. It allows me to have that knowledge. How is the app called internally when I'm gonna go look for it, which we'll do in a second. All right, so you can see here our tool. Our tool finished processing. One artifact was completed. It gives you a little pop-up telling you it's done. And when you hit OK, it's gonna bring up a browser with that information, right? This is how our tool runs. And again, I just did one artifact. The artifact that I'm drawing your attention, and this is also on the blog for more details, is the application state database. And this application state database is really important because it allows us to correlate our app bundle ID, the name, internal name, with where is that data located within the device. Let's look at it. And let's actually see if we can zoom here a little bit more. There we go. It's a little bit maybe too much, but it's fine. All right, so here's where it's located in the private var mobile library from bar application state.db. Okay, this is how iOS keeps track of what apps are installed. And you see here the bundle ID name, the internal app name, where the app itself is located, and where the data of that app is located. And we're interested in this part here, where the app data is located, or user-generated data is located. It's in the sandbox path. So again, we might not know the internal name of the app. We go to the website I just showed you a second ago. We look for the name. In this case, we know that Houseparty is part of the app name. So here it is, Houseparty. And this is the location we're going to be going to. Okay, keep into account that this directory here is like a global user ID looking directory name. It's unique for this installation. If the app updates, it will get a new GUID-like directory name. This application in my phone will have a GUID directory name that's different from yours. That might be different from a third person, right? So that's why this database is so important. It allows that correlation by device. There are other ways of getting to this data, but I want to show you this one. I think it's one of the more useful ones. So now that we know where we need to go to this particular path. That's where Houseparty is keeping our chats right in there. So let's do that. So let me drag here to the screen our extraction. All right. Since it's a really long GUID and path, I'm going to leave it here where I can see it. So we're going to go to private var mobile containers data application. And look, each of these directories corresponds to different apps, right? And like which one is a Houseparty, right? That's why I want you to go this route and figure that out first. Because trying to figure that out, just by going folder by folder will take forever. So let's see here, C882355. Right, there we go. This is the one that we're looking for, and we're going to go in and see what structures we can find. A quick note, usually I like working with extractions in either zip, tar formats, forensic formats, or kind of encapsulated. I think it's a good practice. Sometimes we have to extract them in this way, and there's reason for that. We'll discuss in the future, but there's nothing wrong with doing some analysis, extracting the data out in this fashion. Just take into account that the file creation dates cannot be used since you uncompressed it on your computer, like in my example, whatever the day it was, right? So let's go in here, and this is the app we're looking for, and these directories are kind of expected as part of the sandbox structure of an iOS app. And our first suspect is the documents directory. Okay, so let's go in here, and we see here immediately, or at least it draws my eye. Here's this little icon here. This icon is like a round. Let me show you here. It's like a little round world-looking icon. It corresponds to the Realm database data stores. So let me show you that. Here we go. Realm Studio. Let's go to the main page so we can see the logo. I think it's larger there. somewhat, right? So the Realm Studio. These are a fairly new, at least new in the sense of being used a lot in mobile devices. A fairly new way of storing data. Uh, Forensicators in this space are really used to SQLite databases, relational databases, but the Realm databases are NoSQL databases. The data is kept in a different format. And again, that could be a whole video on its own. What you need to know is that the data that you expect to find on a SQLite database might not exist in that database because the database might not even be there for this app. If you find in your data, like in this case, let me go back, a realm.realm file, be fairly sure that it is most likely a Realm database. And to open that, you will use the Realm Studio product. So you go there, go to Studio, download it, and you have it on your device, on your computer, analysis computer, like I do. And I have it, set to open these files by default. So let's click it and see what we find. Right, Realm Studio is opening. Let me drag it over here for you. And you will see this. You will see a bunch of classes, right, with different objects in them. Okay. Now, obviously, I did this beforehand, so in real life, you wouldn't know what's happening here, and you might have to go to these classes and looking for things that might be of interest. Obviously the first level is looking at how much data does these classes have, right? So, the big ones might be more interesting than the smaller ones or the ones that are zero. And also the names are the descriptive of data that you might need. For example, let's look at here at Realm Public User. Let's click on it. What do we have here? Oh, well, we've seen this before in our documentation, right? Let's compare. I think we did. I think we have here, this is the FIR, right? So there's a username here, and this is the username, right, that appears here as part of the public users. There's a primary key here, a string ID, usernames, where it was created, a whole bunch of good stuff here, right? How about this next one, Realm Note? We have here sender ID, recipient ID. This is a clue, right? How can we identify, in this case, who is talking to who? And again, we go to our documentation and we notice that we are testing this base because it has a Realm database. We are testing this because it has a Realm database, right? The same message. We're testing this. Yep, the same message here and there. So we found our chats. We found some users. What else can we? Let me minimize this. What else can we find here? There's one more I want to show you, and it's the Realm local contact. Let's see if we can find it. Here it is. That's pretty obvious, right? Who is the local user? Look, there's even more information here, and this links to another class that might have even more information, right? You have here 2 phone numbers that are linked to that Realm contact. Fantastic. So we found what we're looking for. We found chats. We found IDs for users. We're good. The thing is, how do we report on this? It's kind of tough, right? Your tools might not be set to parse this type of data. So one way we can do it, I think it, for the time being is workable. It's saving the data in JSON format, right? So you click there and it'll ask you where you want to save it. I will save it on my desktop for now. It's gone, and let's go find it. Let me minimize the database here. We're done with that. We're done with this. Here's how it looks. A nice little file, and we're gonna open it with Notepad++ and see what we find. It's a little bit large. Let's make this smaller. There we go. All right. This is a large file. It's the whole Realm database in JSON format. But we already did some work ahead, right? We already know what we're looking for. We're looking for, I think it's notes. Let's see what we can find on notes. That's too broad. Let's get the exact name of the key that we're looking for. We're gonna be looking for, I think it's Realm notes. Let me look at it real quick. Realm note. Yep. Realm note. Let's see here. Perfect. All right, so let me zoom this in. This is the key that we care about, where our notes are. You see them there? So one way of kind of taking this out of this database in a kind of easy way is to, in Notepad, collapse the key. Okay, see how I collapsed it? So all the data inside that key, all those values and all that, they're now collapsed. And what you do is you start highlighting that key and stop right before the next key. See that? Now control copy it. You can open a new text area and paste it. And there you go. You have limited that data, that JSON file, to only the realm node. And you can kind of look at that. Same thing with the user, same process. Let's do realm public user, okay? Find it. Well, it's right behind it, underneath it, but you know, just kind of reinforce the point. Minimize that, highlight it. How much? Oh, wait, sorry. Minimize here. There we go. And now we highlight it. Open. I use this one. It's already. Well, this one has stuff. New one. You stay there. And let's drop it. And public user, right? And the nodes and the and so forth, right? That's one way. And then you can take these files and work them, massage them, use Python to create a report, just kind of highlight what you need, etc. So you can kind of work off of that part, and then the rest that you might need now is segregated. Another way is using a script that converts JSON to HTML, and I like that because it allows me to see the relationships in an easier fashion because it's columns and rows. So I have a little script that I made for that purpose. It's also in my GitHub. Let me show you. It's a JSON to HTML converter. Which directory did I put that in? Let's go all the way to the top. Here it is, JSON to HTML and XLS Excel converter, right? So we're gonna go there, and I already created a little folder in, and I put the database in. So what you do is you call the script. So let's do that. It's one of my first scripts, so it doesn't really have any arguments, but you know, it's all good. I'm doing better now. So Python. I'm gonna call main.py. I'm gonna run it. And it's gonna ask you where the file is. So it's gonna be in the directory where the files are. So we're gonna hit there, number one. We want it in HTML, and it's done. All right, so it's done. So we're gonna go inside that directory under converted, and we're gonna open it. Let me scroll this over to the side, and there we go. Right? It's kind of columns, rows, and the little dots here indicate kind of unique keys or unique values. So let's go and here on the left you have the actual keys and the dots unique values. So let's go to the node ones, right? We want realm nodes, right? There we go, realm nodes. So let's scroll up a little bit, and there we go. Here we have our IDs, who sent it, and the chat, and the times here in UTC. It looks like milliseconds if I'm not mistaken. And which obviously should correlate to this, and you can test that. There you go. So quick conversion. You can maybe do a screenshot of this or just extract that part and extract the users here, so you can know who's talking to who and whatnot. All right. So pretty much that's it. Be aware that you want to address these type of challenges of new apps or apps that are unparsed in this same matter, right? Or at least this is a suggestion I provide to you. It could be Realm, SQLite, Protobuf, which are videos that I plan to do in the future. Take the time to use these great resources that are online. They're free. Josh's images are free for you to use. I want to show them one more time. And let's go here. And I'm going to put it here on the references so you have it. Practice, practice, practice. or create your own data sets. And as here's the blog, and as you practice, share it with the community. Let us know what you're finding. Let us know what's important in regards to your research. And to do that, you can do it over Twitter. You can do it open a blog. Something I recommend is to have it possibly peer reviewed. DFIR peer review. I should have taken that link before I started, but I have it here. So there is a way, DFIR review, and I put it here, where you can do your research and have it reviewed and shared with the community. It's a great concept. Again, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to me in Twitter, social media, and hope to see you next time. Thank you so much.